WVON traffic and weather now.
Chicago, good Monday morning, another day, another blessing. It is February 1st. Right now, let's get into our travel times as things are relatively back to normal as far as the travel times are concerned. If you're on the Dan Ryan, 95th to downtown, 15 minutes. Downtown to 95th, 14. Inbound to Tuskegee Airmen, looking good. A 16-minute trip. I-80 to the Ryan on the flip side, 16 as well. What can I say about the Bishop Ford? Smooth sailing in both directions, 13 minutes. If you're on the Stevenson, Lakeshore Drive to the Tri-State, 19. The Kennedy, downtown to O'Hare, 38 on the flip side, 21 minutes. And the Edens in both directions, Lake Cook to Montrose, and Montrose to Lake Cook, 15. Weather today, breezy conditions, cloudy to partly sunny with a high of 32. Tonight, a low of 24. Tomorrow, cloudy with a high of 31. Good morning to our listeners in Brighton Park. It's currently 31 degrees. I'm Candace McCollum with traffic and weather on 1690 WVON.
The station, 1690 AM, WVON. The website, WVON.com. Check it out.
It's time for Black Houses Matter with Cook County Treasurer Maria Pappas on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
It's Black Houses Matter. It is Michael Lee and Sonia Tompkins this morning. Trees of green, red roses too, I see them bloom for me and you. Hey guys, it is the first day of African American History Month. Yeah. And Sonia here is giving me a big time list of what you can do. You can get to the Chicago History Museum and learn about the lyric opera's adaptation to Amistad, which was all about enslaving Africans. You can see the works of a legendary local sculptor, Richard Hunt. And at the Southside Community Arts Center, from the center, there is a retrospective of African American artists and the executive director, Fahim Mahid, on February 13th and 22nd. It's free. Time tickets are required. So there's lots of virtual concerts. There's the Chicago Children's Choir demonstrating African American black music on February 25th. And there is just a whole slew of stuff. You can get to this by getting to the City of Chicago's website. I want to talk to you about something that looks really interesting to me. Mariano's is honoring Black History Month with a cooking demonstration with African American chefs. Lamar Moore is demonstrating seared pork chops and black-eyed peas on February 1st. Hello, today. And on February 9th, Chicago chef Brian Jupiter of Ina May's Tavern and Frontier Supplies is demonstrating crawfish hush puppies free. Don't pay a thing. You're sitting there. Get on the internet and watch this stuff for free. So we got some good news. Good news. The not so good news, and you know I'm all over Target because I don't want a super Target in Water Tower Place selling celery and carrots and whatever it is that they sell. It's okay, but can you imagine coming to the city of Chicago from California, New York, Tennessee, Iowa, getting to Michigan and Pearson, and what are you going to see? You're going to see a Target. Really? Why would you come to the Magnificent Mile and look at that unmagnificent store? Well, the people who own Target and corporate America, Target people, call Maria Pappas, and I'm going to tell you why you should not put a Target on Michigan and Pearson to replace Macy's. You know what? In Central Park, not because people don't have anything to do, but Central Park's in New York, and a lady was out there and she found an owl that hasn't been spotted in Central Park for 130 years. And I said to myself, don't owls come out at night? What is this lady, what is she doing out here at Central Park at night? You don't even go to Grant Park at night here anymore. So this other lady, sweet little lady in Marin County, California, her dog died. Her golden retriever kicked the bucket. And she and her husband were so miserable They announced on the internet that their golden retriever died. So they asked people whether or not they could walk their dogs and if any of them had a golden retriever. Get this, 420 people asked them to walk their dogs, and 15 of them were golden retrievers. They got 140 comments on the internet, Sonia, about how sad people were that their golden retriever died. I'm like, I wish people cared about each other like they care
About these animals, absolutely.
about these dogs. So now the Miami Heat, get this, the Miami Heat is going to like open up and actually allow people into the stadium. Big deal, right? Do you know why?
Why?
They found 19 COVID sniffing dogs. So when you try and get in, the dog will sniff you, and the dog can tell right away if you've got COVID. And if the dog barks, you don't get into the stadium. And I thought, you know what? Why not? Where are these dogs? You know, that would be so much easier than taking these tests where they shove this thing up your nose. And
I don't understand how they know all this. I mean, fill me in on how these dogs know all of this.
Yeah. Can we get a few dogs in Chicago? Can we get a few sniffing dogs? I take one in front of the county building instead of having to take my temperature every day. So get this, there's 9 million people living in Mexico City. That's a whole lot more than living in Chicago. So they've decided to do away with plastic straws. But they also told all these little guys along the way that have like tortilla stands that they're not allowed to wrap them in plastic or paper anymore. So now if you want to buy food in Mexico City, like a tortilla that you usually like pick up on the street and they give it to you like wrapped up, like they wrap up gyros and hot dogs and all that. They don't do it anymore. You have to take your own paper.
Treasure.
This is some slop.
This is
I'm like, seriously? The world is on fire. I mean, my weekend was so weird. Every place I went, people complained and complained and complained. And then I pulled this stuff up on the internet. Get this one. Gill nets, and I didn't even know what this word was, Gillnets. Gill nets is what they use to throw into the ocean and pull up fish.
Okay.
So they decided that they are going to ban them in this particular area of California. They banned them a year ago. So you can't use these fishing nets to fish in this area in the Pacific Ocean. Since they got rid of the nets, 8,200 porpoises showed up. Really? I'm like, can this be real? What would it be like to see 8,000 of these animals jumping up and down in the water because you got rid of the nets? And I'm thinking to myself, you know, does this have anything to do with like people not feeling like they're locked up anymore? If they like unlock this city and let everybody out, will they be like porpoises jumping in the water in the Pacific like everybody so wants to go out and go do stuff and have a good time? And lastly, in France, there are 26 million people affected by heart disease. Guess what the French did?
What?
You know how they like replace your knee with their knee replacement? They came up with an artificial heart. They came up with a heart that you don't have to wait for a transplant now. This is like a heart. They show a picture of it on the internet. That's actually made out of steel and has valves and everything. And they are, the second quarter of this year, going to start releasing these hearts. So you got a heart problem, you go to France, and they'll give you a heart the way they give you a knee replacement in the United States. I'm like, you know what? Hey, French, whatever. How about a brain replacement? How about, hello, can you replace the brains of all these people running around Chicago who are just miserable? Welcome.
The COVID has brought out the most strangest things worldwide.
Yeah.
We've just been crazy and foolish before COVID. Because the stories you bring are just amazing.
They're all about animals.
You like animals?
I love animals.
Okay.
Yeah, they say people who like animals like people. So if you're dating somebody and they don't like animals, I don't suggest you go for round 2.
Oh my goodness.
Stay off of round 2. Yes.
Michael, you have a pit bull?
Yeah.
So he likes.
Come on, Michael. Tell us what your pit bull's name is. Bring some excitement to the program.
Well,
Come on.
she's 5 years old. Her name's Sheba.
I
And what does Sheba do for you?
Well, she's an excellent guard dog. She's always happy to see me, so I guess she's my best friend, I guess you can say. She's never mad at me.
Uh-huh. So people actually feel that their relationships with their dogs are better than their relationships with their spouses. Someone gave me, Candace Jordan gave me a plate, which I gave to my husband, which says on it, be the person your dog thinks you are. And every time he gets out of hand, I point at the plate. Be the person your dog thinks you are. Welcome to Black Houses Matter. Let me give you some. We already got 200 phone calls at the Cook County Treasurer's office this morning at 443-5100. Now listen up, folk. You do not need to call my office. You can go on cookcountytreasurer.com and you can find out everything you've ever wanted to know about your property. You can find out if you overpaid. You can find out if you are owed exemptions. You can find out if it's the wrong address. Michael Lee just pulled out a picture of his Rottweiler, right?
Yeah, that's my new one. That's the new edition.
Let me see.
Oh, he is gorgeous.
His name's Jax.
But he's so little.
Yeah.
How old is he? Can everybody see his?
He's 8 weeks.
He's 8 weeks old, and he's protecting you?
Not right at the moment. we're teaching him that now.
You're teaching him?
Yeah.
He's adorable. Where'd you get him?
My son, he was a Christmas present to my daughter from my brother.
What
I'm
a
stuck raising him.
All right, guys, give it up for the 8-week. We are going to track the progress of an 8-week Rottweiler. So get to this website because people are calling and saying, "Do I get an exemption? Don't I get an exemption?" It shows you on the internet going back 4 years if you got a homeowner's, if you got a senior exemption, if you got a senior freeze. It will tell you that. And incidentally, all of you who are getting those bills, I want to remind you of the following, that even though you get a March 1st bill, it is not due. Thanks to the Cook County Board and Preckwinkle and Daly, you do not have to pay. You can pay without penalty through May 1st. You got 2 months because of COVID. 2 months because of COVID. Let's give it up for Black Houses Matter. We are up to $44 million in refunds. Call this number, which is, Sonia?
The station number is 773-591-1690.
Yeah, give us a shout because look at this. We're going to give you some numbers this morning. We've been giving back money in the African American community. Bellwood, 1.6 million. Broadview, 751,000. Calumet City, 3.3 million. The entire city of Chicago, 21 million. Country Club Hills, 1.2. Dalton, 1.3. Flossmoor, 1.8. It goes on and on and on and on and on and on. South Holland, 2.2. We have given back 44,873,000 in double payments. You and your mortgage company paid. You refinanced and both financing companies paid, or 2 mortgage companies paid, but their double payments. Get to cookcountytreasurer.com. Put in your address. Once you put in your address, a pic of your house, a picture of your house, your lot, or your commercial property is going to show up. And when it shows up, you're going to scroll down and it's going to tell you the info that you're calling my call center about. So you don't need to call the office unless you're completely disabled. We will send someone to your home to help you. So in the meantime, 773-591-1690. We're going to move on to an example here. We are trying to rid the county rolls of additional tax sale properties. We've got about 36,000. The tax sales indefinitely postponed. This is Marcella Ward in Hazel Crest. It's 7 East Carriageway Drive in Hazel Crest, and Marcella owes me, Michael, run with it.
Well, it looks like she owes a balance for the 2018 taxes treasurer of $4,233.06.
So she gets to the internet, she puts in her address, she sees a picture of her house. What's she going to find out next?
Well, the next thing she'll find out that in 2011 she overpaid her taxes by $141.72.
So listen up, WVON listeners. We're sitting on $79 million in double payments. She's one who is just owed $141. But get this, it goes back to 2011. This goes back to 2011. This website will take you back 20 years on any piece of property that you've owned. So what else is she missing here?
Well, it looks like for the year 2018 and 19, Treasurer, she's missing her homeowner's exemption.
What's it worth a year?
$500 at least.
So for 2 years?
That's $1,000.
Okay. And what do you have to do to get a homeowner's exemption?
Actually, just live in a residence for a year.
So if you're like a first-time homeowner and you've lived in the house for 5 years, how many years can you go back?
The assessor will go back 4 years retro. with the
Okay,
homeowner's
so if you've been
exemption.
living in a house and you haven't gotten any exemptions, look at your bill. It will tell you, then we owe you for 4 years $2,000. Call 773-591-1690, and we're going to find out if you're one of these people. So what else is wrong here on Marcella's property? We got her homeowners, that's $1,000. What else is going on here?
Well, it looks like she's missing her senior discount also for 2018 and 2019, which equals an additional $1,000.
So how do you get a senior citizen exemption?
Well, it's really similar to the homeowner's discount. The only difference is you have to be 65 years and older.
Okay, so Marcella, this is Michael Lee, Sonia Tompkins, and Maria Pappas calling from Black Houses Matter at WVON in River City. We would like for you to give us a shout because we owe you $2,141. Yeah, and if you can't come into the office, which I seriously doubt in this weather and everything else, give us a shout on 312-443-5100, and we will come out to Hazel Crest. Either Michael or Maurice will come out there. We're moving on here. We're going to move on. The phone is ringing, which is really, really good. So some people are being told yes, and some people are being told no. But let's move on to James Austin in Carrie Austin's ward, the 34th ward. Love Carrie Austin, the 34th ward in the city of Chicago. I want those people at Target to remember to call me because I don't want you in Water Tower with your celery and carrots in your superstore. I really don't want you there. Don't think you belong on the Magnificent Mile like Target, but there's nothing magnificent about you. You don't fit into the neighborhood. What's wrong with James Austin's property here, Sonia?
Ooh, it looks like in 2018 he has a balance of $3,006.
So James was on the tax sale, which was supposed to be last May 8th. It's indefinitely postponed. We are about Black Houses Matter. This is why we do. You see these two signs here if you're on Facebook Live. Black Houses Matter. What's it about? It's about helping African Americans who are on this tax sale list to understand how to get off of it, because no house, no life.
That's right.
No house, no life. What can we do for James Austin?
Well, it looks like he is missing his homeowner exemptions for 2018 and 2019.
$1,000.
$1,000 there. Also, his senior citizen exemptions he is missing in 2018 and 19.
$2,000.
And his senior freeze missing in 2018 and 19.
At least $500 a year. So, hey, James Austin at 10954 South Peoria, if any of you who are listening would go knock on that door, he owes me $3,000, but I owe him a little bit more than $3,000, assuming he lived in this house in 18 and 19. We want to get you this money. We have created, and we are just now outfitting the Pappas Mobile. We're going to be coming out, and we are going to be coming to these homes. And as we get to these homes, we are going to have the applications ready in the van. It's going to sit and have a wonderful desk. People are going to have masks, but instead of having to come downtown, What we're going to do is we're going to help you fill them out on the spot and get you your money within 4 to 6 weeks, because what we're finding out about Black Houses Matter is a lot of these people are disabled. We got a caller on the line here. Who's this? Is it Isabella Jackson?
No, it's Izella. Izella Jackson.
Izella, Izella.
Correct.
Extend my apologies.
That's okay.
I'm glad you called. You're 74 years old, right?
Yeah.
And you've been getting your homeowner's exemption for 2016, 17, and 18, and 19, right?
Yeah, I think I'm missing a couple. I'm not
Yeah.
sure.
Well, here's what you're missing. You're a senior, right? You were living in this house in 2016?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So you have not gotten your senior citizen exemption for 4 years.
Right. I think that's correct, I believe. Mhm.
Okay. So that's $2,000.
I'll accept it.
You'll accept it. Get excited, girl.
Yeah.
Hey, what?
Hey, I'll take it.
You take it? So what are you going to do with it?
I have a new grandson, and the only one really, and he's turning 5. So I'm gonna give him birthday and maybe give him a certificate that he can't touch, maybe a CD or something.
Okay, invest
And
that.
keep it until he's 21 and something, and can see how it grows.
Yeah, or if not, the parents are respectable, so I may, in 5 years, if I'm still around, turn it over to them.
Now you're the only parent in the face of the earth that said they got a respectable kid. Please.
Yeah, they both are. They both very
Huh?
both of them are respectable parents. And
What do they do?
One is a teacher, and one is he does specs for diesel locomotives, stuff like that.
Mhm. Where's she teaching?
It was, let's see, 87th, and I'm not really sure the name of the school.
But it's just Chicago Public School
yes,
System?
Chicago Public Schools, around the parks, yeah.
So she's not back at work yet, right?
No, my son is pre-K, so they both home right now, but I'm sure tomorrow she'll probably go.
Yeah. So,
She's like assistant principal right now, yeah.
oh, nice. That's really nice. So, I mean, a lot of people are kind of like happy about being at home with their kids, and then a lot of people are like real unhappy about being home with their kids. You know what I mean? I mean, like some people are like, can I get out of here? Can I go back to work? You know, can I please send this kid to school? You know what I mean? Because, I mean, think about it.
It's different. It's different being, hands-on, because I did a couple of times with them remote learning when he was in daycare. Now he's pre-K, but he's over at the by the University of Chicago, but I think he's home today. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So let me ask you something. How do you make under $55,000 a year?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So,
I'm retired. Mm-hmm.
where did you retire from?
Electromotive, EMD,
Mm-hmm.
out in LaGrange.
You went all the way from South Damon to LaGrange?
Every day.
Wow.
How'd you get there?
I drove.
Don't tell me that there are people who don't care about their jobs and don't trek around. It is so hard. I mean, Izella, I'm taking my hat off to you. Not a lot of young folk I know would drive from Damon out to
LaGrange.
For 20
yeah.
years, I did it. My husband retired from that too, because he's deceased, passed away about 16 years ago.
Uh-huh. So you're by yourself, huh? Except for this grandson and these two nice kids?
No, I have two other sons. I have 3 sons.
And you got a
one
house
is
full.
disabled.
Are they living there?
One is just disabled one.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. He's a child under me, so I'm his platonic sanitary guardian. So,
Uh-huh.
and don't worry, we don't get any outside help. It's just our retirement, and he's on my insurance. And no government assistance, none of that.
Izella, you deserve this next amount of money I'm giving you. If you're on a senior freeze, you're missing at least another $2,000. If you hadn't have called this morning, you'd be short $4,000.
Wow.
You got another $2,000 plus coming here, depending upon how much the senior freeze is worth. I'm going to send Michael Lee out to your house.
Okay.
He's going to come knocking. He's going to call this 773 number before he gets there. He's going to help you fill out these forms. Now, look at the first 2,000 went to the 5-year-old and a CD. What's the second 2,000 going to? You don't even have a husband to spend it on. He's dead.
I'm going to do it when the pandemic is over. I have a twin that lives in New York and another sister, and we're going to get together.
You hitting the road,
good.
Jack?
Yes.
You
good
going
for
to New York?
Yeah, I was there year before last, on the birthday for everybody, and that. So I don't get out much because I have this disabled adult.
What's the disability?
He's a function that's like 7-year-old, and he has medical disabilities and an enzyme that happened to that's dormant in the genes of a male, and it may appear like every 100 years maybe, and maybe not, but he has it, so it's works with his enzymes, the blood. So he's deficient in a lot of things. I can't give him aspirins. He can't be around sulfur, sulfates, mothballs, and just a lot of stuff.
Lots of allergies, huh? Lots of
Right.
allergies.
Right, and it's for his psyche. He doesn't have he's smart, but he just not. I had to physically go to court to when he turned 18. I couldn't get any information, so I had to go to court for him to be his legal guardian and that.
You know what? I mean, so many people are out there on the dole, Isella. I mean, so many people are out there trying to grab money from the government. Can you tell me?
You can check it. I get nothing. I when he graduated high school, modified, I was able to, I was thinking maybe I would pay for therapeutic programs. I did my insurance, took care of it for a while, but, so I'm basically as cheap as everything. I got we go places now, we can't get out and physically do a lot, but we drive up and down, and my church is a distance from me, and in order to, I don't do Zoom, we do Zoom for.
Isella, you know what? I'm calling you next week to finish up this story because I think it's amazing. It's an amazing story about a 74-year-old lady who's owed $4,000 by the Cook County government, doesn't know about it, is taking care of a disabled son, is not asking the government for any money, is going to church. I want to talk to you about that. I'm calling you next week. All right? Because this guy that works for Melody here at WVON, this Titus guy, he's cutting us off. Scumbag. Cutting me off.
Oh, Titus.
Hey, Titus, I love you. It's Black History Month.
Yes, and please go to ChooseChicago.com,
Skies of blue,
where to celebrate Black History Month in Chicago.
clouds of white.
I think we're done.
I love you. I love you.
The talk of Chicago and the voice of the nation. 1690 WVON, Berwyn, Chicago.
I'm Lisa Chatzman.
And I'm Ray Harris on the Black Information Network.
I want my dad! Stop! Stop!
Sit up!
No!
You're acting like a child. Stop!
I am a child!
The Rochester, New York Police Department is releasing body camera footage that shows a 9-year-old black girl being pepper sprayed while handcuffed in the back of a cop car.
I will get your dad. No, you said that you were going to pepper spray me. No, please, no, stop! Stop! I got a bad
This sprayer.
No, I have
This sprayer at this point.
Stop!
Deputy Police Chief Andre Anderson said the girl was detained after 9 officers responded to a call about family trouble. Anderson says the girl said she wanted to not only kill herself, but kill her mother. Rochester's Black Mayor, Lovely Warren, says this incident is not something anyone should want to justify.
When you have a child that is suffering in this way and calling out for her dad, I saw my baby's face in her face.
This incident places the Rochester Police Department under a national spotlight once again. The department still facing scrutiny over the death of Daniel Prude.
Kentucky's Black Attorney General Daniel Cameron says the petition to impeach him is baseless. Cameron filed a response to the petition with the General Assembly. saying it's so lacking in legal and factual support that it doesn't serve the House Impeachment Committee's consideration. The impeachment petition was filed by 3 of the anonymous jurors in the investigation of the deadly drug raid on Breonna Taylor's home. It accuses Cameron of misrepresenting the findings of the grand jury and the evidence presented to them.
Donald Trump has a new legal team to fight for him at his impeachment trial. The former president announced that lawyers David Schoen and Bruce Castor Jr. will head his impeachment defense team. A statement from his office says both attorneys believe the impeachment is unconstitutional. The House impeached Trump on one article of inciting an insurrection after his supporters stormed the U.S. Capitol in an attempt to stop the certification of the election results. 5 lawyers recently left Trump's defense team.
Federal findings show former President Donald Trump and the Republican Party raised millions in the weeks following the presidential election. The Black Information Network's Mike Island picks up the story from here.
Donors gave over $175 million to the Trump campaign and the Republican Party from November to December alone, as the former president aimed to overturn the election results. The New York Times reports out of the money raised,